When we imagine the earliest human empires, we usually picture two distinct things: monumental stone architecture and the violent conquest required to build it. Diagnosing an ancient civilization is a lot like checking for symptoms. If a society develops an agricultural surplus, it leads to dense city building, which creates a specialization of labor, and ultimately requires a highly centralized government to keep everything running. Look at this vast, flat river landscape. 5,000 years ago, the Indus and Saraswati floodplains provided a massive advantage for human survival. The rivers reliably flooded twice a year, depositing nutrient-rich silt that yielded incredible amounts of calories per acre. Because of our standard historical models, we are conditioned to expect that any society thriving in a landscape this resource-rich would inevitably use its massive population to build armies, conquer its neighbors, and concentrate power. This map tracks the footprint of the Indus Valley Civilization. It was an absolute behemoth of antiquity. Archaeologists have uncovered over 1,500 distinct settlements stretching across the region. But as we look closer at those thousands of sites, an anomaly emerges. There are no imposing royal palaces. There are no massive statues or monuments constructed to stroke a king's ego. Even stranger, across all of those excavations, researchers have found almost zero archaeological evidence of warfare. No battlefields, no arsenals, and virtually no weapons. We are looking at the most expansive, well-fed society of the ancient world. So how do you manage a population of that size, expanding for over a millennium without ever deploying a military? This clay artifact shows a sample of their written language. It proves they were communicating complex ideas, but without a bilingual Rosetta Stone to act as a translation key, we cannot read a single word they wrote. To understand them, we read their infrastructure. This view captures mega-city foundations like Harappa. Instead of chaotic, sprawling layouts, these resemble pre-planned modern grids. Notice the perpendicular avenues. Every brick in these straight walls was baked to a uniform size. They even engineered their environment. Entire residential blocks were meticulously oriented to catch the prevailing winds, channeling breezes through the streets to provide the dense neighborhoods with natural air conditioning. You cannot achieve that level of precise, uniform planning across hundreds of miles by accident. It proves they had a highly organized, cooperative administrative state, operating entirely without a centralized dictator. These intricate brick trenches supported an incredible feat of civic engineering, a centralized, gravity-fed sewer system. Deep ditches ran continuously beneath the main avenues, efficiently carrying waste and dirty water out of the residential zones. Public sanitation of this quality would not be replicated on Earth until 18th century Europe. The largest and most significant structure in Mohenjo Daro was this massive, waterproofed brick pit, a communal space known as the Great Bath. We also know exactly how they interacted with their neighbors. This piece of patterned cotton cloth was a major export. They established massive trade networks reaching all the way to Mesopotamia, peacefully exchanging their woven textiles for foreign metals like bronze. By prioritizing high-functioning civic infrastructure and lucrative international trade over military expansion, they engineered centuries of sustained economic stability. Sometime around 1750 BCE, the society began to fracture and fade. It is extremely tempting to assume their lack of weaponry allowed them to be violently overrun by foreign invaders, But the archaeological record simply doesn't support a conquest. Instead, the evidence points to a massive tectonic shift that physically broke the landscape and disrupted the water systems. This topographical map illustrates what likely happened. Massive earthquakes forced the rivers to drastically change their courses. As the water moved, the vital tributaries that supplied the megacities with their immense agricultural surplus completely dried up. The empire didn't collapse in a sudden apocalyptic fireball. Stripped of their irrigation networks, the people simply adapted. They packed up their belongings and migrated away from the decaying urban centers to find greener, wetter pastures to continue farming. The Indus Valley Civilization serves as a physical counterargument to our assumptions about human nature. It proves that dense megacities, global trade routes, and sophisticated civic engineering are the products of peaceful collaboration rather than the violence of conquest.